Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the newspaper review right here at Prime Media TV. I am Ayo bringing you the newspaper review for today. And coming up, Nigeria in trouble as TINUBU inherited economic death sentence from BUHARI. On the case of minimum wage, governors working on what states can pay. Man has been arrested in Anambra State for giving underage daughter out in marriage. On fuel scarcity, man shot dead by armed operatives at filling station in Lagos. These are the headlines we are set to review with you today. But before we go into all that we have for you today, let's go on a quick break. And when we get back, we'll go into the show. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Let's see the first headline. Nigeria in trouble as Tinubu inherited economic death sentence from Buhari, says Shetima. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has again blamed erstwhile President Muhammadu Buhari, his party man, for the unprecedented economic calamity in Nigeria, and its people are enduring consequence upon the removal of the petrol subsidy and floating of the naira amid several years of unsustainable borrowing by Mr. Buhari's regime. Despite several prominent figures opposing Mr. Buhari's wayward economic policies and wanton borrowings, he was edged on by many of his acolytes, as even former President Olusegun Obasanjo could not prevail on him to change the nation's economic course, heading for the precipice. More aptly, on Thursday, Mr. Shettima admitted that what Mr. Buhari left his successor, President Bola Tinubu, was a death sentence economic crisis. From the get-go, Mr. Tinubu's economic steps faltered, plunging citizens of Africa's most populous nation into historic strangulation and abject poverty. The president and his team have continued to act on the message of hope for a better tomorrow, while Nigerians seek immediate remedy to the starvation and poverty that assail them with their purchasing power eroded. And joining me on this session is my co-host, who also is an analyst. We will be analyzing this together with you. So you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And when I saw the story, the first thing that came to my mind is we are always blaming people. Blame game. That is what came to my mind. And it reminded me of some of the things that we learned at Sunday school some weeks back. We're looking at blame game. That you cannot keep blaming everybody for your misfortune. You must be able to take responsibility for yourself.
Actions.
So I would like to hear your take on this story.
Our government, it's last time we're talking about the power sector when the current chairman came out to say that it has been like that before he took over office.
Yeah.
And this is another phase of it. Excuses. Now, before they assumed office, there were promises of renewed hope. If you are aspiring to occupy a position I'm occupying, it means you have the capacity to do better than I am doing.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that if you're making a promise, there should be some measures that are in place already to ensure the fulfillment of your promises. Now, if they are blaming the past administration for what Nigeria is currently going through, now I would like to ask, where was fuel when they assumed office? Where the cost of things when they assume office, is that what we have now? Meanwhile, then they assume that Nigeria was suffering and they are coming in to make Nigeria a better place. It's over a year now. And I can say revise is the case, what we are experiencing in Nigeria today. It's a problem when people don't want to take responsibility for their action. And if they continue in the blame game, it will be difficult for them to fix the problem because they are not even thinking, they are not brainstorming on what to do to curb the situation.
Yeah.
Now they are already, it is when you feel there is nothing you can do, you now look for who to apportion the blame. That is what our leaders are doing. It is obvious they do not have the remedy. In spite of all the resources generating fund in Nigeria that is capable of solving the problem we have crude oil. We have so many mineral resources in Nigeria that can help elevate Nigeria from the mess we are in. And now the leaders, the people are, it is a problem. If I didn't been when people enter into a place through a due process, if you are working in a place and you know that you are answerable to your boss, and that if you misbehave, your boss has the capacity to remove you, to fire you, you will be very conscious of whatever you are doing. They are not answerable to us. They feel there's no fear of removal. Unlike the days of the old time where people can be dethroned, people can be voted out. They know that no matter what happens, nothing is going to happen. Is it our vote that put them there? So there is no fear, there is no opposition. As a matter of fact, there is no pressure party. That is the problem we're having in our Nigerian government. No pressure party. As a matter of fact, they are the pressure to those that should be pressurizing them. They are the opposition to the oppositions. So they do things, they come out and tell us anything, whether we take it or we leave it. That is what we have in Nigerian government. And you can tell, there is nothing. If the past administration is the cause of the problem, and I keep asking, the things we are going through now, the cost of things now, was it that way when they assume office? So it just and if they keep it up like this, the problem will keep on going on.
Okay, the first thing that stood out for me in the story is the fact that, this is actually coming from the vice president of Kashim Shettima, when he said that it was the reason why this economy is like this is as a result of the debt that the previous administration passed down to them. And the first thing that came to me is that during President Muhammadu Buhari regime, all through his 8 years, the blame is always on the previous administration. That was the administration of Goodluck Jonathan. And then we felt like it was because Goodluck Jonathan is from PDP. You can say because he's not a party person, he's an opposition party. So that is the reason why he's passing the blame to the opposition party. But in this case, Buhari is Kashim Shettima's party man from the same party. So are they indirectly trying to tell us that there is division in the party? Are they indirectly telling us that they are not working in alignment on how Nigeria is going to move forward? That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. Okay, the previous administration was blaming the opposition party, but now the same party is blaming themselves, shifting blame. Nobody wants to take responsibility. And also, Nigerians are actually looking forward to Mr. President himself coming to say this. I believe that the vice president has not come out to say this without the knowledge of Mr. President himself. And also, when this administration came into power, the first thing Mr. President made us to understand is that he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped. And Nigerians, especially if anything that trends on social media, it is not easy for us to forget it. Probably because they forgot. I really wish we have that video of when Mr. President said, "I'm going to continue from where my predecessor stopped." Like he was going to leverage on all that
his steps.
He was going to leverage on his steps and do it and continue from where he stopped and all of that. Now, have we suddenly forgot when he said that? And here is Mr. Kashim Shettima coming to tell us that, it is as a result of the past administration, blame game. And secondly, they were talking about the economic hardship. And I could remember in a conference that was graced by Mr. President around August, he said we have to make hard decision in order for Nigerians to move forward. And part of his hard decision that they must take is fuel subsidy removal. I mean, when the subsidy was still there in Buhari's administration, Nigerians are not lamenting like this. And according to him, he said they cannot keep on procuring debt because it is debt that led them to where they are. That whatever revenue they are generating in their own administration, they cannot use it to continue to pay for the previous debts. Now, the question to ask is that the money that has been generated so far from fuel subsidy, what are they using it for? At least it should be able to cushion the hardship that Nigerians are currently experiencing. Currently, I'm not sure there's subsidy on anything at all for Nigerians. And in advanced country, what they do is that there is a percentage that governments pay for whatever that is going on in the economy. So the percentage that they have removed now, where are they channeling it into?
This
That's the
thing
next
brings me
question to
back.
ask.
It takes us back to what I said earlier. When you are accountable, when you know you are accountable to somebody, you are mindful of what you do and how you do things. Now, in every organization, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, there is a moment for accountability. Now, when you know that you have an account to make, you are very careful. There is documentation of everything you do. It's not like that in Nigeria government. They are not accountable to anybody. Nobody can give account of how we hear cases of EFCC coming out to tell us huge amount of money they've recovered. Where are those money going to? All right, like you stated, the money that have been recovered from fuel, how has it been spent? On what has it been spent? They feel they are not accountable to anybody. Rather, they keep on increasing their salary, buying millions of naira and both in dollar worth of cars, bulletproof cars, because they feel they are not even safe. Why buying bulletproof cars? They are not secured. They are afraid because they are living in fear. All right. Now, these people, they are not willing to account to anybody. As a matter of fact, they can't account. How can you account for what is not documented? That is the problem we're having in Nigeria government today. These things, they come out to tell us anything. I just feel like what we are experiencing in Nigeria government is when our leaders are being approached, maybe when the press approach them, anything that just came to their mind, that's what they say. Not really what it is. Imagine now, in the case of though we are still going to visit that, the case of the minimum wage, there is a story of it will take effect. And they see from the same people, they still a story of where the government is still reviewing it. So what is taking effect? So I feel that when they have been approached, they just say whatever comes to their mind. Not really the truth. That is what we're experiencing in Nigeria government. So it is these people, all I keep saying here is that they should know that very soon to become a game over for them. They are already faulting themselves. It's the beginning of it. Initially, it was faulting opposition parties. Now they are faulting themselves. They have nothing to offer. If you are promising people a renewed hope, what are the measures? 1 year is enough for evidence. What are the evidence to prove that, yes, at least one thing that will make the people believe that in the next 3 years, in the next, by the completion of first tenure, we are expecting something from this party. I can tell you basically now that there is nothing to show for, even if it is 1 day they've spent in office, there's nothing to show. Nigerians are crying. Nigerians are lamenting. And the people cannot be in pain, and you come out to tell us otherwise. All right? That is what we have in Nigeria today.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned something that we should actually take note of, that they are blaming the previous administration for the way the economy is. But the economy is not reflecting in their use of cars.
No.
The economy is not reflecting in their bank accounts.
Not at all.
They are still getting, I heard that
very fat neck, big head, big tummy.
The government is currently building an apartment for Mr. President. The First Lady got herself a new car, bullet car, like you rightly said. They got themselves SUVs. Mr. President has yacht. If the economy is truly derailing, if the economy is truly not stable, it should be reflecting in their
standard of living.
their standard of living. You know, it should reflect in all that they do. You know, there was a time that some senators in Sokoto State were demanding for official cars. The governor insists that even me, that is your governor, I don't have an official car. I still go to my official car, my own car that I brought into office is still functioning. I can make use of it. Why get you an official car when we are yet to serve the people? He insisted that, yes, you have stayed with me 1 year in office, but look at me, I'm an example. Insisted, no, consider manage whatever car you are using. You have a car before you assumed those office. But these people they are coming out to blame the previous administration. And this is actually, you know, when we were talking about Minister of Power that said the national grid has been like that for a very long time, you know, he was saying all of those things. For you to see the problem without providing solutions to it is a proof that you don't have a solution to that problem.
You have the
So
capacity to
instead
be in
of
the office.
instead of talking about the problem, you should leave. If it means that you cannot do it, it is a proof that you can't do it. You should leave. And also, if they are blaming the previous administration, it is not bringing us to say, okay, that means there's a fault in the previous administration. Don't look at the fact that he is your party man. Get him arrested. Bring him for questioning.
For interrogation.
And interrogate him and know what he did that has plunged this economy, this administration, into the mess that they are in right now. Should we say that they are afraid of the previous administration? That's another question to look at. Should we say they are afraid of it? So if we keep on blaming the people, you know, they keep on blaming everybody. If power is bad, they blame the power minister. If this is bad, they blame states. If that is bad, they blame and everybody except for themselves.
The truth is that they are not afraid of calling him for questioning. As a matter of fact, during his administration, they were making suggestions.
Yeah,
and I can tell you here now that those suggestions from them were considered.
Yeah.
You get, it was considered. So because they were in the same party, you know, the thing I tell you is when you lack the capacity, you know, when you lack the capacity, a workman that does not know his work will blame his tools. You get it? And the problem we are having in Nigeria is, let me just, even as we wrap up this, displace a thing, and the person that is in possession of that thing is helping you to look for it. You will never find it. That is what we are having in Nigeria. Our leaders, the economy is not affecting them. It's not affecting their family members, their relations. They are not being affected. How much is bulletproof car? Are you going to war? Even though they are going to war, are they going with bulletproof cars? But because you are in power, what are you protecting yourself? If there's a clear conscience, fears no accusation. Almost all the politicians, all our leaders, almost all of them has bulletproof cars. For what? Are you afraid of the people that put you in office if they're actually the one that put you in office? So it is a problem that when they lack capacity, they shift blame. Don't be surprised. We are still going to hear more of this. People coming out to shift blame. It is because of this. Now, why do you now feel you have the capacity to solve Nigeria, to lead Nigeria out of mess? There was a promise of hope. I will keep on saying that. There was a promise of renewed hope. That the hope that we couldn't, that was not realistic during the former administration is achievable with you. What has happened to those promises? Till tomorrow, I will honor the action of the former First Bank CEO who resigned. When you feel you don't have the capacity again, instead of coming to tell people story, leave the office. There are younger people who can do this thing. Leave the office for those who have the capacity. That is what our politicians should do for us.
All right. We're moving on to the next story. Minimum wage, governors working on what states can pay, NGF. Very quickly, let's see the news in details. The 36 state governors under the aegis of the Nigerian Governors Forum (NGF) have disclosed that they are reviewing their individual fiscal space as state governments and the consequential impact of various recommendations geared towards arriving at what they described as an improved minimum wage they can pay sustainably. This came as the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) gave reasons organized labour is fronting 615,000 naira as the new national minimum wage, saying it is being magnanimous by not raising its demand despite compelling reasons to do so. The governor said that they celebrate with workers across the country for their dedication to service and patience, as all have worked with the federal government, labor, organized private sector, and relevant stakeholders in arriving at an implementable national minimum wage. According to the governors, while they acknowledge various initiatives adopted recently by way of wage awards and partial wage adjustments, it is imperative to state that the 37-member tripartite committee inaugurated on national minimum wage is still in consultation and yet to conclude its work. The governors added that they would remain committed to the process and promised that better wages would be the invariable outcome of their ongoing negotiation. In a statement yesterday by NGF chairman and Governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, at the end of the virtual meeting held Wednesday night, the state governor said they are committed to looking into issues bordering on remuneration of state judicial officers and that infrastructure of the courts. Okay, since it is still the week for the Workers' Day and all of that, it is quite expedient that we still look into the case of this minimum wage. And as that today, the NGF, the National Governors Forum, they said they are still going to look at, they are still going to, they are still deliberating on how much the state can afford. I believe the NLC are actually fighting for federal workers. Truly, the federal government can afford to pay their federal workers the 600,000 naira and above. But if that amount should be implemented, it is going to affect state workers and private-owned sectors, because virtually everybody working in the private sector will be like, federal workers are collecting 600K, I'm here collecting 30, 40K. They will want to implement that, and some private sectors may not be able to afford it. So now the governors, the governors of each state are now deliberating on how much they want to go by. But the disheartening thing for me is that, is this the right time to start deliberation? That is it for me. So I would like to hear your take.
Remembering the fact that there was an announcement on May 1st that the new minimum wage will take effect beginning from this 1st of May. There are so many things to talk about on this. Firstly, which of the minimum wage is taking effect? Is it the 615K that the people are demanding for? Now, that takes me to the NLC. The NLC is a body that should be fearless. The NLC should be fighting not just for government workers, but for the masses, for the labor market. The prices of things, even the amount they are clamoring for, cannot, take care of the current situation of things in Nigeria, even if they are being paid that amount. Now, instead of fighting for the price of things to go down, I tell you, three things the government will do, and this story will be a forgotten story. If the price of can be considered, if electricity can be considered, if dollar can be considered, if our naira can appreciate, you get. Now, these are the things these people, this body that have been set up. I remember back then when when Oshomole was the chairman of a NLC. He will lead the people. The people by now, people will be on the street. People will be on the street, being on government neck. This is what we want. Now they have, they are now people that should be the voice of the people are now voiceless. It is a shame. It's a pity. It is a pity on the side of the NLC that rather than seeking for the price of things to go down so that the least person in Nigeria can be able to afford, good meal. They are clamoring for increments of a salary that cannot even, take care of the current situation of things in Nigeria. Now, if this new demand is being implemented, I have a question. Does it mean the prices of things have come to stay? Does it mean everything has come to stay? The fuel has come to stay? And mind you, if the government should implement the amount they are requesting for, mind you, there is going to be increment again. Increment in the prices of things.
Yeah.
Now, but before the increment, does it mean that Nigerians should just take things the way they are? No more. There should be no expectation of prices of things going down. Cost of goods and services is not going down, because once they have increased the salary, then in their own mind they feel like at least we have done our best.
Yeah, we can afford it.
You get it? So the NLC should have shifted their mind from their primary area of focus. What they are clamoring for shouldn't be is not the primary need. Normally, according to the Constitution, the minimum wage should undergo review, I think, after 5 years or so.
Yeah.
No, it's normal. That if our leaders are considerate enough, they know what to do and they know when to do them. But currently now, is everybody working for the federal government? Are all Nigerians working in government offices? The current situation now is how to handle the cost of things in Nigeria. Go to the market, you can't buy a tuber of yam. If you are a family of 6, the amount they are clamoring for cannot take care of their needs. Speaking from Lagos now, you know what house rent is saying? Transportation, everything. And somebody is not looking into all these things. Now the question is, has the price of things come to stay with us until the end of their tenure? So the government is confused. Our leaders are confused. I'll keep on saying this. They said something has taken effect and they are still deliberating on it. So what has taken effect?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's one of the many things that came to my mind, that this shouldn't be the right time they are talking about it. I mean,
they should have concluded by now.
Yeah, NLC has been on the streets like about twice this year to protest to protest especially on inflation. They were clamoring for the minimum wage review before, but later on they discovered that even when the minimum wage is reviewed, what will be the situation of things, like you have said, that will the price of things remain like this? And what they were talking about is that we're hungry, people are hungry, people need food, and the salary they are earning is not enough to take care of their basic needs. But then looking at it from the perspective of the governors, the state governors that are currently reviewing minimum wage, I think this is how the minimum wage thing is done. That whatever amount you are getting should be able to buy a bag of rice. And we can see that as at the time that the minimum wage in Nigeria was around 125 naira. A bag of rice, they consider it that whatever amount you're earning should be able to buy a bag of rice and should be far above the exchange rate. And as at the time that minimum wage was around 125 naira, a bag of rice was, everybody know the amount a bag of rice was then. And as the amount for the price of things kept increasing, they kept increasing the minimum wage. But I would like us to look at it from the time that the minimum wage was last reviewed, which was in 2019. As at the time that they concluded minimum wage would be 30,000 naira. A bag of rice was not up to, was 8,000 naira then.
8,000
A bag of rice was at number of bag of rice. But currently, as we speak, let's say a bag of rice is around 80,000 naira.
Yes.
People said it is coming down, but 80,000 naira, it cannot be compared to the days we used to buy bag of rice for 8,000 naira. So considering the amount people are earning, considering the economy, so the angle where NLC and TUC are coming from is that the money people are currently earning is not able to feed them. Talk more of talk more of being able to feed their families, to talk more of being able to cater for other responsibilities. And on the part of the police and soldiers, people in the security sector whose salary has been increased to 70,000 naira, it is the same security sector that came out sometime back and said, look at me, I'm earning, the man made a video of himself. I'm earning 50,000 naira. 50,000 naira for a family man of three cannot even afford to take care of him on the field, because he's not always at home. Talk more of the money he will send to his family. These
And
are the
that is
people.
why extortion is rampant in
Yeah,
Nigeria.
these are the people that are safeguarding our that are safeguarding lives and properties. If care is not taken, these people can this sector can be sabotaged. When they see people who can pay them even more, they will, how am I going to say, they will work against the government, they will work against the
The
country,
people.
they work against the people, because they are not currently being paid well. So the angle where NLC and TUC are coming from is the fact that we want a living wage that we can get, and we are not impoverished. We don't have to borrow before the end of the month. We want something that is visible. So on the part of the governors that are just reviewing it, I think it is so sad on their part that this is the time that they are just thinking about reviewing it. A review that ought to have taken place since November 2023. So it is a proof that they are not interested in the people of the country.
The interest of the
They are
people.
not interested in the interest of the people of their state. If truly they are interested, we see these senators, we see these ministers, they collect huge amount of money. Some of them go to Senate houses, some of them go to National Assembly. You see them sleeping on seats. But these are the people that are truly working towards the advancement of the country. They should not even talk before their wages are reviewed. It should not even get to the point that they are protesting. Everybody can see the economic hardship. Everybody, we can hear it. We are now in the days of social media that at the comfort of your home with your data, you can see how people are lamenting every day. So this is a proof that they've not been thinking about them before, but now that a lot of media houses are talking about it, a lot of people are complaining about it on social media, that is when they begin to talk about it. And like I said, I will always look forward to May 31st. If at the end of May 31st, they don't get to arrive at a minimum wage, I look forward to what NLC and TUC will do beyond the protest that they had in February. So this is going to be my take on this issue of minimum wage. But if we are to consider it, outside of what CUC and NLC are looking at, what do you think should be the minimum wage for Nigerian workers, both at the federal level and at the state level? What do you think should be? What do you think could have the governors forum would arrive at as the minimum wage for these people?
Anyway, Sha, I will tell you that you and I know that 615,000 is
No,
not.
no,
Is not.
we are not even considering 615,000. But to you personally, what do you think the
Considering the kind of leaders we are
considering
having,
no, considering the economic situation?
the
No, now
government
it's
are
not
not
even
working
about.
towards.
No. Now excluding the government working and all of that, what do you think should have been the pay rise for government workers currently?
Hmm.
Outside of what the federal government is doing, outside of what the state government is doing, what do you think these people are deserving of as remuneration for working at the federal level and at the state level?
My dear, no amount is even enough considering the current economy of this nation. You discover that in this country is a place where private sectors pay more than the federal government.
Yeah, exactly.
So many people don't even after graduate. Many people after graduation from institution, they are not even willing to work for the federal government because they don't pay. So just the question you asked me now, I don't know what to say, because if you want to state this, we'll calculate what the economy is saying at the moment. Even though we know that the government is not working towards anything close to what the people are demanding for, but at least they know the needful. To me, I'm not going to state any figure here, because a family of 6 and a family of 3 is not the same.
Yeah.
Our need varies and our taste varies. But I know that these people, they are not leading us outside this country. It's just like the case we treated last time, where a governor is renovating a lodge in another state. All right. Now, even as that, we are all in this country. If they can't see, they are hearing what is happening, the lamentation of the people. So it means that they are aware of what is happening. They are not leading us from afar. So they know what is good. Let them do it. That is all I can say.
All right. All right. Moving on to the next story. Anambra man nabbed for giving underage daughters and in marriage. Let's see the news in details. The Anambra state government has arrested one Uzochukwu Okoli for giving out his underage daughters hand in marriage. Okoli was apprehended after his daughter reported to the state's Ministry of Women and Social Welfare about the ill treatment being meted out to her by her father and the man he forced her to marry. This was disclosed in a statement issued by Chidinma Kanyo, the media aide to the State Commissioner for Women and Social Welfare, Ife Obinabo, on Thursday. Ikinyowu said the girl, who is currently 16 years old, told the ministry that after the death of their mother, her father brought her back from Edo State where they were going to school to take a husband. So, in the spirit of celebrating the World International Children's Day, I think it is expedient to also look at stories around children, parenting, and all of that. And this is so disheartening. A 16-year-old being forced to get married to
Against her wish.
Against her will, and all of that. And it is so sad that in this modern day generation that we are in, we all know that underage marriage is things that if you had been hearing this in the oldies, in the 70s, in the 80s, you say, okay, it is their generation. But in this generation Z, generation Alpha, where children are clamoring about wanting to become better, but you still have a man who is forcing his child to get married at this very early stage, where she could have, he could have just sponsored her to school, because they know that after graduation, usually sending children to school is always parent retirement plan.
Yes.
But this one is not considering that. So I would like to hear your thought on this.
Okay. I will begin by saying that a problem becomes a problem when people see it as a problem.
Okay.
You see, until, currently there is no stipulated age for marriage. I can say why this man was arrested was because the girl in question raised alarm. But you want to tell me, if you want to talk about this thing now, you will know that you agree with me that 16 years is even much compared to what plays out in the north. In the north, you will see a girl of 10 years given out in marriage. Now, but I think some parents, I don't know what to say. Is it how much would the father of this said girl, how much could he has received to enhance, to influence him to taking such action? What I would just say is that having been arrested is not enough. You need to be publicly treated in a way that others will learn. It's a different thing when the person that want to be given out is in agreement. It's a different thing, right? But in a situation whereby even the said girl gave a narration of how she was constantly beaten by the man, of course she will undergo abuse. It's a different when someone agree to marry each other. It's a different case than and when somebody being given out forcefully, So I think the government of Anambra State shouldn't just end it by arresting him. He should face a proper measure of the law so that it will serve as a lesson to others that even aside being underage, sometimes you see parents, because of this person is my business partner, you must marry his son, and they not minding the happiness of that girl, not caring to know how that girl in question is going to be, if she will be happy in the marriage. So parents should know that their children have their choice to make when it comes to marriage. If you cannot give your child, if you don't have the capacity to send your child to school, we have skill acquisition centers. At least you can enroll that child for even if it is a 6 month or 1 year, 2 years, skill acquisition, that at the end she will be proud of something. She will have something to fall back at. So many parents should understand that when a girl child grows up, the next thing is not just marriage. So I will say that the government of Anambra State should do better than just arresting this man. He needs, for the fact that this girl cried out alive, because who knows, if she had died, maybe we won't be talking about it.
Yeah,
They should do better than just arresting this man. They need to deal with him squarely so that others can learn from it.
Okay. I think it is high time we also sensitize people, parents especially, that they can they can be a source of encouragement to their children to further their studies. They can be a source of encouragement to push their children to become better in life. You see that this thing usually happens to parents who, they are not learned. They are not
They don't even know the value.
knowledgeable to the point that they know that, oh, I think it is better for me to send my child to school than for me to, give her out in marriage and all of that. And I think most of them has also been brainwashed that, oh, if you send your child to school, the child will not become better. At the end, she will still end up bearing a master. So why not just send her out very early? So I think it is high time that parents are sensitized on the need to sponsor their children to school, make their life better, on the need to, push them to a point that, they are no longer afraid, so they can be useful to themselves, useful to the society, and also be useful to the parent, because at the end everybody will leave them.
Sure.
The children will never forget they have a parent.
Sure.
So whatever investment you make in the life of your child now will determine what you are going to reap from them on the long run. So maybe this man is not sensitized enough. He thought, oh, everybody's doing it, let me do it. Maybe he has been brainwashed that look at people that go to school, maybe their life is
what becomes of them.
What becomes of them and all of that. Then he decided to. And again, he gave the girl out to a 70-year-old man. It is so sad. The 70-year-old man, doesn't he have a wife? Doesn't he have children who could kick against it? And it also brings us back to the society. When we see that things are going wrong, you don't just hide it. You don't just say, it is his life, it is her life. It is high time that society also begin to put their mouth. There's this saying that it is only one person that gave birth to a child, but a lot of people are going to raise it. So society should also be voicing out and talking about these things. I was going somewhere sometimes and I saw a girl, a teenager. She was putting on a very skimpy dress, and I was like, what happened to the parent? These are children that I knew, from. I didn't say much about it because I knew who the mother was and all of that. But I think it is high time that society ourselves, we need to sensitize people, to sensitize the parents, to sensitize the children. And even if we cannot talk to the children, we cannot talk to the parents, we can reach out to non-governmental organizations who can take up this case of abuse in a case like this. And at the same time, I also wish that as they are arresting the man, they also look at, taking the girl to go and visit a therapist, because that girl like that, she has, her mind has been tampered with. There's tendency that she's going to see every man as an abuser, like the husband she has been forcefully taken to. So she needs to see a therapist and all of that. That would be my say concerning that. We hope that in our other segments we'll be able to elaborate more on cases like this. Okay. So we are moving on to the last story, which is on the case of fuel subsidy. Man shot dead by armed security operatives at filling station in Lagos. Very quickly, let's see the news in details. Tragedy struck yesterday in the Obalende area of Lagos State when a man named Toib Eniasa was shot dead by armed security operatives suspected. It was learned that the chaos started while motorists and residents in the area struggled to purchase fuel at petrol station belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited at Obalende area of Lagos State on Wednesday evening. According to an eyewitness, Idowu, trouble started when two men, believing to be military officers, drove into the station to buy petrol while many others were on the queue to buy the scarce product. I really don't want to, dig deep into the story like that, but I believe we know the story and all of that. This is a case between the police officers and civilian. These people are supposed to be, you go out, you see that there is traffic, you see that most time it is the security officers that are there that will direct the traffic and ensure that people are doing things in order. But in this case, the police officers as well want to get fuel, they want to jump the queue and all of that. And on the long run, they decided to, implement this thing by force to the point that they killed an innocent young man. But I would like to hear your thoughts, because for me, I'm just going to it is so disheartening that our security sector that are supposed to safeguarding our lives are the one that are misbehaving to the point that they could kill a civilian. No, this is so sad.
You see, this country is a country where we make law and we find it difficult to operate or abide by the law. It's so disheartening. And I tell you, these are situations that do warrant jungle justice.
Yeah.
You don't expect, if you're a leader, you have to lead by example. In all manners. You got there. Everybody is
on queue.
Some people, in this part of Lagos, I don't know where in this part of Lagos, you see that from 3 a.m., people are already in fuel station. Because people must go to work. Hospitals need light. There is no light in the country. Where the minister is even saying that he has nothing he can do. There is no light in the country. So everybody is depending on this thing. And you get there. Are those people not human beings? And I will tell you that there's even a way you approach a person that no matter how aggressive that person will, okay, just because of the way he spoke. I'm sure then they try to use force. But no matter what would have warranted the use of gun on a fellow citizen? We are really going to we are going to I'm to ensure that we get more updates about this case. What the government will do to this person. I'm surprised. I don't know. I wonder why they allowed him to flee after that action. Honestly, because I know some areas in Nigeria where such will not happen and the person goes scot-free. You don't try this in an area like Aba. You don't try this in some areas, somewhere like some areas in Port Harcourt, and you say you run away. They will ensure that they give him jungle justice. So the government, I'm sure they are hearing this. I'm sure they are reading this. Something of this nature, what are they supposed to do? Why will the people protecting life or meant to be protecting life, why are they now taking life? The citizens are not the cause of the problem. We are all in this together. It's a general market. So I don't know what would somebody who has been entrusted with the safety of the life of the people now turn around to take the life of the people, and these people are on uniform. They are on uniform. What message are they passing? So I really, it's a very saddening news. It's really bad that somebody who left his house just to get fuel will return back home lifeless. It's a bad incident.
Yeah.
And I hope that the government interfere, because it shouldn't just, this case shouldn't be swept under carpet.
Exactly. So we look forward to the government doing something concerning this, because I could remember a case like this that we recorded where there's some civilians who killed soldiers and police officers. We knew the reaction of the security personnel, how they went into that community to raise down the community, even though they denied it. But this is now the reverse is now the case. Now, let's see, because then even Mr. President said, you must fish those people who killed the soldiers in Okoma community. And here we are, even though we also look forward to the government talking about the case of a civilian that has been killed in this case, because the life of a slave is what's the same as the life of the son in the house. So we look forward to the government doing something about this case, because I mean, this is the regulatory bodies that are supposed to be to ensure that people do things in order are the ones that are now using force. So what examples are they giving? We hope that they will not just allow this case to be swept under the carpet like every other case that we have recorded. We look forward to the government talking about it the same way they talk about when these security officers were killed by civilian. Now the security officers has killed a civilian. We look forward to what they are going to do, because I mean, this is a family. It could be a family man. They've been on the queue for 5 hours. They've been there for a very long time. They want to purchase what these same security personnel want to purchase. There are things that patience of 5 minutes can help you to cop.
Sure.
There are things that, I went somewhere yesterday. There was traffic on this road yesterday, and I was like, what is really causing this traffic? But it's so unfortunate that it was a trailer that had an head collision with a car that wanted to enter into the fuel station. There was massive queue of cars, and it was just speeding. He could not have a little patience, and it led to a whole lot of things yesterday. Why? Because of something that 5 minutes patience could have just solved,
taken care of.
What 5 minute patience could have just taken care of. We look forward to the government getting justice for this man, because he may be a family man. Even if he's not a family man, he has parents, he has people looking up to him, he has people, he has gone out to get his daily bread, and here he is lifeless. They need to get justice for this man.
Even the family of this man must not keep quiet.
Yeah.
We look forward to hearing from the family of this man. Let them come out. Let them speak out. If the government refuses to take action, let it come out.
Yeah.
We are going to push this news, because a matter like this must not be swept under carpet.
Exactly. And another thing is that by the time Nigerians, Lagosians especially, by the time they start retaliating, it will become even worse, because Nigerians do not care. A policeman, it was a policeman like you that killed a family member. They can burn down they can burn down the police stations. They can begin to destroy things. And by the time they start destroying things, they say they are destroying government property. So I think it is time the Lagos state government especially should come out to ease Nigerians up, because Nigerians will become angry. And at the sight of any police officers, any security personnel, these people can be pushed to swing into action, and their action may not be what the state government is expecting. So like we always do, we will keep our fingers crossed on this story and bring you updates on what later became of this police officer who killed this civilian. So this is all that we can take on this segment of Newspaper Review. We would like that you follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Prime Media TV. On Instagram and TikTok, we are Prime Media Studio. On the website where you are currently watching us, we are enginespeak.com. You can as well follow us on YouTube at Enginespeak. I am Ayo. Until I come your way again, please do have a great day.